I think guys have a false sense of security. And the false sense of security is that they logically understand modern society. They understand women. They understand, more than they did before, right? That nobody knows everything, but you feel like, I kind of got it under control and pretty much figured it out, And they understand that marriage is not a good deal for men. You look around, your friends, divorced. So many guys are paying like just insane money. And some of the stories are just, they're beyond tragic, right? They drive people to suicide, like literally guys to suicide and murder and everything. Like guys like lose their minds over, custody battles and all this stuff. And you think, oh God, I could never do that. Like, how could I ever fall into that? Like, that would never happen, right? No, not me. I mean, I've seen my friend, I've seen my brother, I've seen my boss, I've seen all these guys, and I understand, like, no way, right? I'm not going to get married, no way, and you might think, well, the other thing too, you might think that having sex with a bunch of hot girls is going to protect you, because you think, well, I've had, a bunch of hot girls, so why would I settle down with one? Like, no way, right? It's not going to happen. But nevertheless, guys like you walk down the aisle. And I think that men do not understand the intense pressure that is on them to get married at some point in their life. And I was just thinking about it. I think the best analogy is black holes. So what's a black hole? You guys know a black hole? Black hole is basically very, very simple. It's just imagine a huge rock, okay? You got a huge rock. So let's just say, I don't know how big rock is, but it's just big rock, right? And somehow using pressure, you have a machine that's so powerful that it can literally crush that rock into something the size of a pea. Okay, so you can take this huge rock and you can even imagine a mountain, right? Just being crushed down into the size of a pea. Imagine the weight of that little pea, right? It would be incredible, right? If you had just imagine a big rock, like 6 feet tall, granite, you crush it down to the size of a pea. It would be incredibly heavy. If that thing fell, it would just, off a building or something and hit you in the head, it would just go right through your body, right? Just like whoosh, like right through butter. Because it's so small, but it's so heavy. Well, that's all a black hole is. A black hole is, it's not just one rock. It's not even like Everest or a big mountain. It's planets and suns. So when a sun collapses, basically the force is such that when it runs out of nuclear fuel, eventually it burns. It turns like a lighter color, a red color, different, like a lighter, less heat, as it runs out of nuclear fuel, and then it starts to implode on itself. And this sun, which is enormous, it's hard to even imagine how big suns are. They're so much bigger than the Earth, but either way, it's like a lot. Like, just think a hell of a lot bigger than your car, right? Okay, really, that's a good analogy. It's something small, something your car or whatever, and that car is now crushed, or that rock is crushed down the size of a pea, and then you add another car, and then you add buildings, and you crush them down, and eventually you add the whole Earth. It crushes down to the size of a pea. And then then that pea, what it does is it floats around in space, and it comes near things. Whatever it comes near, the pressure from the gravity is so intense that it sucks it in. And as it sucks in more planets, it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And it's still the size of a pea. So just think how heavy that is, and how small it is. It's incredible. The size of a fucking pea, right? And so what happens is they're invisible. Peas are, in space. Like, you look at the size of objects, they're just so tiny, you can't even see a black hole. It's just totally invisible to you. But it has enormous power. And if a planet comes near it, if you ever watch, I don't know if you've ever seen a video or a picture of it, what it does is it just starts sucking rocks off the top like a vacuum. And then eventually it's like sucking the outer layer, the dirt. It's like whoosh, just sucks. And then big rocks, and then chunks, and then it breaks it apart, and then it just sucks the whole planet into there, right? but it's invisible. So now you have even heavier P cruising around, lurking around in space. And just whenever it comes near something, it's just sure death until finally it gets so dense and so intense that it finally can't take it anymore. The physics are just too intense. And then it explodes and it becomes, massive cloud of dust, and it starts another universe, right? That's basically how it works. And I think that marriage, or the pressure to get marriage, is very, very similar. It's like the pressure to get married is like floating around you. And you don't really notice it, usually. You just you're walking around your life. No one notices, guys, right? You're just fucking doing your thing. Nobody pays attention. Like girls, as soon as they're start budding breasts, guys are all over them, right? Asking them out, giving them money. Every time you read a story about somebody who, had some good luck, right? It's usually a girl. I just read this morning that some girl, some guy paid her. She was an Uber driver, and some guy paid her college debt, just some passenger, and that kind of story is very, very common. These girls good things happen to them, but the reason is obviously they're girls, right? And guys want to get in their pants, and so some guys are willing to give more, and other guys less. But for guys, women are into sex, no doubt about it, and women are, I would say, just as sexual as guys. But they don't go and do it the same way. They guys come to them, right? And so as a man, what this means to you is that you are basically, I don't know, like in the Matrix. You're just one of those guys in suits. I forgot what they're called, but you're just like one of these guys. You're just out there. It doesn't really matter how good looking you are. It really doesn't even matter if you have money or anything, really. In the end, you're a guy. We're all fucking guys. Guys just don't have that much power in the social scene. And we just kind of walk around, and even cool guys, girls might smile or something, but in the end, it's kind of the same. I mean, guys just basically get ignored, right? So you get used to it. You figure hey, no one's going to target me. But then, once in a while, you'll get really seriously targeted. You might find yourself, let's say just wandering into some free event or something, and it turns into a very, very intense sales pitch for something. Let's say for timeshares or something, right? So I was in a event in China where they literally locked the doors. They put chains on the doors. Totally illegal everywhere else, but they literally, it was kind of a fake Tony Robbins event. I went because it was $5, and I wanted to listen to his speech in Chinese, so that's why I went. And I was there, and I was watching it, and I was really enjoying it. And because I was learning new words, and I was seeing the way he was expressing himself and everything. And then in the back, they locked the doors with chains, And then the pitch got intense to buy his product, right? And I was looking at it, I was like, whoa, chains on the door. It literally was, those long handles they have on the doors where you push the whole handle in to open the door, in a church or something. Or in a big exit for an office building or whatever. That's what they had, and they had the chain together. So you could, even if you had the key, you could not open the door. And so suddenly we were in a very intense sales environment, right? Just like you're floating along in space in your life, no one cares. Next minute, you float by a black hole. Well, shit changes then. Shit starts flying off you, man. Your sunglasses, your fucking wallet. Shit starts flying off into the girl, and you're like, the fuck's going on here? You can't even see anything. You're looking around, you're like, why the fuck is this happening? And then, I have a friend right now, he has this girl, and she's intense. This girl, she's so intense, man. This chick is good, man. I got to tell you, as kind of an experienced warrior in this field, I see this a sales pitch of women. And I can really appreciate a really good girl who's really good at it, and I watch closely, right? Because there's not that much you can say to a guy unless he's asking for help, But if he's not asking for help, the average guy, you guys know, don't say anything, right? Don't even try to help, because you'll just be hated by everybody. So anyway, so this is a guy I know, a friend of mine, and he was not asking for help. That's for sure. He was, in fact, he was very happy about it, because this guy is this friend of mine. He's a very cool guy, actually. I like this guy a lot. He's very unique. He's a serious fucking rebel, this guy. And he made a ton of money in crypto. And so he met this girl. She was a quite clever New York girl. She's quite hot. And I don't know if she's hot. Depends on, you might not think so. I don't know. Like, I think she's pretty hot. And so she targeted him. And I saw, because I knew this guy before he met her. And this is the kind of guy really is not that popular with the girls. I just know the guy. He doesn't really give a fuck. He's very intense. And he's got a bullet hole in his leg. He got shot once. He's just a very intense guy and good friend. I trust this guy. Very trustworthy guy, actually. And so she targeted this guy. And he was the kind of guy that was not usually targeted by girls. And so the pressure from this girl, she started dressing sexy and she started posting pictures like he was the best guy, the most handsome guy. And he, to his credit, he held out for a long time. Like probably a year and a half, 2 years, he held out. But she kept the full court press on this guy. She wanted to marry this guy. And, I saw the post getting more intense. Sexier clothes, wearing underwear, just like, it was getting more. And it was like more and more like hand job, compliments to him. Like, oh, he's the coolest guy, and I'm so lucky to have this man, blah, blah, blah. Then, the pressure went to the next stage. Then she told him, I wasn't there, but I saw what they posted on Facebook. And she decided they're going to do a fake marriage, which is like you dress up. It's like cosplay marriage. And he went for it. And so they walked down the aisle. They did a fake wedding. Oh, now he's on the hook, right? He's going down, right? I'm watching this going, oh, man, this is funny. So next thing you know, they're getting married. They got married, right? And on the blockchain, which is not a real marriage, right? So there's like another test, she tested him, right? And the pressure, you could see the pressure, his mom and everybody, his friends. And this guy is, he's a tough guy. He was resilient to the pressure, but it just got too much for him. He's had a tough life, this guy. I don't want to give you details because I don't want to give away who this guy is, but he's had a tough life. Like, definitely, he's had challenges, like pretty big challenges, and so I think he had an unseen weakness, I guess, for this real intense love and appreciation. He's the kind of guy who was not loved and appreciated anywhere near the level that he is. Like, here he is, a cool guy, right? And then no one notices. And then suddenly some girl who's pretty hot, she notices. And she's just like full court press on the guy. And so now we see that they're going to get married. And another guy contacted me, recently, and he was telling me about getting married. And it reminds me of a bunch of people in my life. Like, I've had people over the years contact me. And, we do the fucking guy walk thing, down to the beach or whatever. And it's like, so what are the pros and cons here? They'll tell me, and they will essentially tell me, okay, this first meeting, they'll basically tell me they don't really love the girl. They'll say like this is a typical conversation. They'll say, well, my old girlfriend, I still love her. I still fuck her once in a while. She's still there, but it's just not right now with her. And so this new girl, she's not as hot, but, I'm with her and I don't know, she really wants to get married, but she's a little too old for like kids and stuff, and so I don't know, and she's like got these problems and she got this issue and she did this and then even then the guys are not being completely honest. I got to dig in. I'll say, well, like, have you guys had any serious problems? And he'll be like, oh yeah. Like for 2 months we didn't see each other, and we had this huge fight and, and then they start telling me stories about how, things were like pretty out of whack, like pretty whack, right? Like fucking whack, right? It's like, what the fuck? This girl's not a good girl. Like, she's not like, she's no princess, right? And this is very common, right? And she's not the perfect, I think if a guy's going to get married, you want to get the fucking perfect, if you're going to do it, okay, if you're going to do it, I got to say this because like guys do get married, okay, guys. So no matter what you say, if you're going to do it, you want to pick a rose that just bloomed. That's fucking beautiful. You know, it smells good. It's just the right age, just fresh as fuck, you know, beautiful, optimistic, you know, that kind of stuff. But with these marriage proposals, those girls that are the perfect fucking fresh rose, they don't do this. Like, they generally don't do this. Like, they've got so many options that you have to do the pitch to them, right? They're not going to do it to you. The ones that do this intense pitch are usually the girls that are past the wall. They've hit the wall, and they're going to give it the one last fucking go. You know, it's like, this is it, and they're going to do it. And what guys underestimate is their weakness for this pitch. And the reason why is very complicated, actually. And I think understanding the complications is super important if you want to avoid a pitch from somebody that you should not be with, okay? So I'm not talking about if you're very happy and you're going to do it and you're like planning your fucking life and you're all excited about which fucking forks you're going to get at the wedding. That's another thing. You probably shouldn't be listening. But for most guys marry girls that are the wrong girl, and they know it from the very fucking beginning. Like, from day fucking one, they know this is not the right girl. Like, they got some other girl they love. There's something seriously wrong with the situation, and they give in anyway. So why is that? Why do guys over and over, you know, centuries, eons, guys give in, and even before the official contract, you know, they give in to mate up with this girl, even though they know it's wrong? Why do they do that? What are the factors that you have to be ready for? And also, the other thing why you should keep listening is, regardless of whether you think you're going to do this, your friends are going to do this, okay? Your son, if you have a son, your friends, your dad, you know, he's going to get... There are going to be people you can help if you understand the complexities of this stuff. Because if you think simply, you're going to fucking be the worst friend ever. Because you'll just talk to your friend like me in the old days. That's what I did. I was a fucking idiot. I was like listening to guys and they'd say, yeah, this girl, she fucking cheated on me. She's too old. She's all nervous. She does this, you know, I don't like that, you know, she's fucking, you got a bunch of debt, you know, like, and, you know, like she lied about it, you know, and, you know, this kind of thing. And so I thought back then, I was naive, right? I was like, yeah, this guy's like totally fine. Like, there's no fucking way he's going to marry this girl, right? It's not going to happen, right? And next thing I know, I talked to him again, and then he's kind of embarrassed a little bit. You know, he's kind of like, well, you know, I thought about it. You know, she's all right. You know, what's going on? You know, it's not so bad. You know, I mean, that was kind of a mistake. You know, because you know this and that. You know, and you know, her family is, you know, whatever. You know, they go on. It's all misunderstanding, and some guys will actually go so far as to actually outright lie and say, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. That she had debt. Yeah, I didn't say that. Nope. You know, it's like, whoa, those guys you can't help at all because they're like so fucking sold down the river. It's hopeless, right? But a lot of guys, they just start to, because I dig this stuff out. Here's the thing. If you want to help guys, let's say you just want to use this episode to help other men, right? What you want to do in that first meeting, kind of like my episode about how to be the best she's ever had with sex. The first time you meet a girl, you want to find out all of her proclivities, things she likes. You want to get the dirty stuff down so that before she starts to put on the brakes, and like that's what girls do, you know, you got to get the first night. You got to get all the dirty stuff and do it, figure it all out, do it all. And that way you set the stage that this is what we do. We do this fucking dirty shit and you come all over the place, right? That's key. You got to do that the first fucking night. Now, I think this is the same thing with guys. So when a guy comes to me now, I want to dig in right away before he knows that I'm basically getting a database to help him later, right? To confront him, because he'll forget, right? He will forget all the things he tells me. But that first day, I say, oh, you know, so what has she done? You know, so what? Okay, how old is she? Well, what do you know? That age, you know, do you want that age? Is that what you know? Because now we're talking about, hey, here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of women listen to this podcast. And, you know, the reality is both men and women have to only, let's just say everybody gets married. Let's just say, right, everybody in the world is going to get married once. Well, guess what? You got to make a fucking good choice. Guys do too. Guys got to make the very, 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 very best choice. It's got to be 10 billion to 1 for you to marry. It's not like, oh, this girl's okay, she lives next door. No, none of that shit. She's got to be fresh as the day is long. This girl's got to be perfect for you. Like, otherwise, what are you doing? You're out there fucking meeting all these people every day, and you're going to marry some fucking girl that you already know? Like, fuck that. No way. No way. This girl's got to be young. She's got to be hot. She's got to be funny. She's got to be skinny. She's got to be sexy. She's got to have good skin. She's got to have nice hair. She's got to have a lot of shit, right? Because that shit goes downhill later, right? You got to make sure that you get the good stuff. You got choices, man. You got choices, or whatever it is that, are the things that you really want, right? Whatever it is that you value. And same with girls. The girls are in the same position. They're going to decide. They might have a guy, they really like him, but he has no job prospects, right? And he's got a felony record. They might really like the guy, but that doesn't mean they're going to marry the guy, right? Same with you. You have the same rights. You have human fucking rights, and you have the right to pick the hottest girl that you can possibly get if you were ever going to make that decision. And you obviously have the right not to make that decision. But so back to the way guys get sucked in. So what is it? Why are guys so unprepared for this? I think, like I said first, a lot of guys are just ignored. And when they get the love bombing, when they get the pressure, it feels good, man. It feels good. Like, really starts to not matter what she looks like or like the problems. Guys feel important. She's making them. She's bigging them up. The way you take the peanut butter out of the fucking barrel there. Woo, that's so sexy. Makes me fucking juicy. Oh man, I just want to drill you, And guys are, that kind of stuff. Guys are like, oh man, she even likes the way I do peanut butter. Like, fuck, no one else notices, the way I spread that peanut butter out there, I do the best peanut butter jelly sandwich my grandma told me. Like, really, it's crazy the things that happen. Like, girls are very, very, the thing is that we all evolved in a very complex environment to survive, getting the best that we possibly can, right? And so because of that, we are very sophisticated creatures, all of us, women and men. And we have ways of getting what we want, right? When you seduce a girl, it's incredibly complex. One of the problems with lesbians when they become, let's say they come out of the closet and they got to go and they try to seduce women, because women, I got a lot of friends, right? Women come to me and they'll say, I've had women come to me and say, basically, I'm out of the closet now, and I know that you're fucking good with girls, and so teach me how to fucking have sex with girls, because I can't do it. Like, she'll say, like, I tried to, I brought a girl home, and then fucking she just wanted to watch TV. She lied. Like, I don't understand. How do you guys do, how do you do this? Like, what the fuck, And it's because the actual seduction is very complicated, right? And lesbians or women that want to seduce women, they are surprised by how difficult it actually is. Women will lie to them and all that. And again, I don't think that stuff that women do, like, let's say when a guy is trying to seduce a girl and the girl's kind of avoiding him, I think that stuff there, it's not like she's being a bitch. She's actually doing what she's supposed to do. That is her programming is to avoid that. And she is programmed so that she will avoid almost every man in the world. Okay, I'm talking about traditionally, right? This is the programming in her DNA, is to avoid almost every man in the world until finally one man somehow breaks through all her defenses and gets her pregnant. That is the way she's programmed. Her body's programmed that way. And so when she's like turning you down, even if it's a Tinder date and she fucked another guy, last week, it doesn't matter. Like, she has the same skills. And so when she's turning you down and you're trying to seduce her, that is a very, very sophisticated thing. And that's not her being a bitch, and that's not you being a toxic. That's you being a healthy specimen of the male gender. And she's being a healthy specimen of the female gender. These are natural, they're complicated, and women get confronted with these things. But now we're talking about, essentially, when you seduce her, there's a million things you do, right? you don't even think about it, but the way you stand, the way you talk, the way you move, the way you, so many things, it's incredibly sophisticated. The way your eyes move, the things you talk about, the words you choose, the way that you take her clothes off, the way that you make her comfortable, the plan that you do in advance. Like, of course, once you get good at it, you just kind of do it like riding a bike, but it is a lot of different factors that you're putting together, and it seems easy eventually. It's like driving a car or racing or whatever, something more complicated, actually, much more complicated. But so that is the same level that you seduce a girl, the skill that you have. You got to pat yourself on the back. You're an intelligent, very, very effective, intelligent being, and you got to hand yourself, like, you're amazing. Fucking guys are amazing. The way they seduce women, it is not easy, man. It is fucking not easy, and later on, when you get better at it, you start, it does become easier, but it never becomes easy. And I think in some ways it should never become easy, because there is a bit of a chasing that's kind of enjoyable. And I think girls like that too. You get too blasé, and then it stops working again. You got to kind of revamp, and you got to rethink it. It's incredibly complicated. And that's what anybody who's a long-term, like, seduction guy, you fucking figure out that it's like, whoa, you thought you had it down, and then you're like, wait a second. I'm a different age now. I'm acting different. Fuck, I got to learn new things and improve, right? So, okay, now we're on to her pitch to you, her fucking sales pitch in marriage or bonding or children or whatever it is. She's doing an intense full court press on you. And now here's the thing that you're not going to be ready for. Now we talked about her, right? She's got this she's so many things that she's doing. And I think part of the way that you avoid these pitches is by not blaming her for being bad. Just looking at her in awe, almost like she should look at you in awe for your skill in fucking her, right? In the first date or whatever. And how you did that where other guys could not. And you did it, right? And she's like, wow, that guy somehow unlocked the safe to my pussy, right? That is, he figured out, he's like got the stethoscope, and he's like, he's clicking. He's figuring, he figured out her pussy. He unlocked her pussy, right? And a smart girl's like, wow, this guy somehow got through all my defenses, right? Well, the same thing is if you want to be effective, okay, at blocking her pitch to you, except for when you want to. Okay, I leave that on the table there. But most people get married to women they don't fucking even like. It's not even right, and they know it, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so the way you do that is, one, is not being all pissed off. Because if you're all pissed off, anytime what happens when you're pissed off? Let's say you're driving, okay, and somebody cuts you off. You get all pissed off. You're much more likely to make a mistake. You are much more likely to get in an accident, get a speeding ticket, just make some mistake, right? Because you're angry. Whenever you're angry, doesn't help you focus, right? If you're taking like an SAT test or something, you do not want to be angry, because it's going to just take your mind off of things, right? You want to be focused. You want to be relaxed. You want to be, you have all your resources, right? So I recommend being in awe of women's ability to give the pitch to you, Sometimes I'll tell girls, I'll say, man, you are amazing. Like, I won't lay it out like I know what she's doing exactly, but I'll say, like, I watched you, you're like, you're very good, you're very effective, but I just don't want to. I mean, I like you, I had a good time, but it's just not right for me. And, and then she'll say, well, what about this and that? And I say, well, I'll do the soft no. I'll do the soft no. It's just like, you can only do this thing once, and I just don't want to do it. I'm not ready. I don't want to, if you have to, you say something else. But basically, I give a little bit of credit to the girls. I'm like, that was an effective pitch there, Fucking that girl, she's got it going on there, And that allows me to be relaxed, because I'm not like seeing it as like a major attack. But that gives me the ability to think clearly, right? You want to think clearly when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? So who's involved? Why is the pitch so devastatingly successful? I don't know what percentage of guys actually marry under this kind of intense pressure, but to the girls who really put the pitch on them, But I think it's way up there. I don't know what the number is, but the percentage is very, very high when an intelligent woman really, and every woman is intelligent when it comes to marriage. This is a very primal thing. It's not like a test. It's a primal thing. And every woman has it in her. She's got a pitch to one guy in her. That's why we survived as human beings, is because somebody made a pitch to somebody and got pregnant, right? That's why she's here. She's a result of a successful pitch by somebody else. Come in me, come in me more than once and make a fucking baby, right? Somebody did that. No matter how lame the girl is in every other way, she's got that ability to somehow get one guy. And you think about this, it only happens to happen for a couple of minutes for you to get her pregnant, right? And with the pitch, it's same kind of thing, because once you say yes, it's kind of the same thing, right? It's like fucking very tough to take it back. Very, very tough. Very few guys, because the way the man is built, can say no, can say I was wrong, I made a mistake, I'm not going to marry you. I never even heard of it. Like guys, once they say yes, it's done, right? She announces it to everybody. It's like his mom. So who's involved in the pitch? Everybody. Everybody is involved. Imagine you are in the fucking Matrix, but you don't realize it, and suddenly you realize everybody around you, or let's say one of those zombie movies, you suddenly realize everybody's a fucking zombie. When it comes to the sales pitch, everybody will come to her aid. Everybody, the neighbor, the paper boy, the fucking barber, everybody will start to say, "Oh, I heard you, I heard you and so-and-so, it's kind of," and then he's like, no, that kind of thing, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to marry her, no. And he's like, I don't know, she's a pretty good girl, she really likes you, okay, well, yeah, thanks, all right. And then, he goes off, and his mom's like, so what are you planning for the future, And then he's like, well, vibes, I guess you heard, so-and-so wants to get married, but, it's just not the right time and everything. And then she's like, and then the pitch becomes, this is why it's so complicated. It's not even about her. It's about something else. Totally different. Like, you're getting old, you really need to settle down, It's not even the pitch for her anymore, It's just the pitch for, like, he's old and going to die or something. Who knows? There's like a million of them, right? One of the pitches is like, time is passing, and like, this is the one that really likes you, and you better fucking lock it down, here's your opportunity. It's like buying a house, right? When the market's going up, you better buy something, got to get something no matter what. Get a fucking house before the prices go up too much, right? Prices are going up, you're getting older, you better fucking make the pitch, And then, okay, so then she puts that in your mind. So now you're talking to your mom, right? She's like, she tells you, I've seen you, Then she'll say things like, oh, I was looking at you, you look happy. And I was like, I'm not happy, fuck, she's a bitch, she did this. And then she's like, I'm your mom, I'm watching you, I see you happy, I think you're happy. And then he starts doubting. He starts, yeah, but don't blame my mom, Like, your mom is a pretty solid salesman, right? Everybody wants to, no matter how much red pill guys talk about women, they never talk about their moms, right? They're always like, well, my mom's different, my mom, right? So then your dad, hey, son, back when you didn't, finish playing that instrument, and you backed out, you didn't fucking do it, you should really get in there, you're getting older, here's your chance, and mom and I are happy, you're thinking like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? He's like, mom and I are happy, and it's, life is, better with another person, like basically he's got the fucking gun to his head from his wife, right? She's like, you better fucking go and pitch, your son and tell him to get married because he ain't getting married yet, and here's this girl, this, blew into town or whatever. And now all of a sudden, and so he's like putting the pitch on, then he goes out, his friends, they basically, they kind of like nobody, it's kind of like a religion, right? And no one's going to say like, hey, like, fuck, that religion's bullshit, man. Fuck, are you crazy? You an idiot? Like, imaginary friend, what the fuck is wrong with you? No one says that. Everyone's like respectful. They're like, oh, you believe in the god Zeus? well, I don't know about that, but I really believe in spirituality. It's like, it's all this walking on eggshells bullshit, right? No one wants to say, like this chick is, people don't talk the truth about this. Guys won't say. They won't say, like, I don't know, like I was talking the other day and she was fucking coming on to me. I think that girl would fucking cheat on you in a minute, Guys will never say that because they think, well, fuck, better hedge my bets because this guy might marry this chick and then he's going to hold it against me and it'll hurt my friendship, right? So even guys, even your like hardcore guy friends, they kind of think they're better off like gambling with supporting you getting married because in the end you won't really blame them, you know what I mean? Because they have to decide themselves, right? It's not you, not them, right? It's the safer bet for most guys is to like basically cheer guys off the cliff all day. Oh yeah, yeah, she's all right, she's cool, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know, whatever is right, whatever feels right, like, I don't know, man, maybe she's the one. Here's another pitch. The one, right? Well, I don't know, she's like cheating on me, and she said this, and that. I don't know, man, I've seen a lot of marriages, and, sometimes, then they pull out the pictures of the internet, the guy's married, 70 years, and, she was fucking his best friend in the military, World War One there, and then he like swept her off her feet and now, Mildred or whatever, fell for him. And she says, I never made a better decision than to be with this man. And he's like, I'm so happy. And oh yeah, the media, they love married people. They're like, how long are you guys married? We are married 50 years, wow, geez, holy moly, like the whole restaurant starts clapping like, oh, wedding anniversary, geez, I want to be like that, everybody's like, girls are like tears in their eyes, like when I'm 800 years old, man, I want to be married 785 years, man, like you guys, and everybody's like, oh, so like even restaurants and fucking random people jump in, right? And then okay, so then that doesn't work. So the pitch becomes, let's say, like when it starts out with her and her fidelity, her age and all that. Then it becomes like the general, like you need to be responsible. Then it becomes, it just goes through like all the fucking factors. So one of the other factors that kills a lot of guys is money. So they say, you're not very good with money. You bought that Mustang and shit like that. Like, yeah, you have a good woman, she'll help you save money. She'll cook food for you, and you guys together, you and her against the world, you guys are you're going to make this, and again, logically, right? You might logically say, well, I listen to MGTOW videos all the time and this will never fucking happen to me. Well, you add up all these factors and fucking guys dropping like flies right and left, man. You got to take off the pride sometimes. If you want to win in life, part of it is realizing you're vulnerable. Right? A good fighter knows he can't beat everybody, right? Somebody can kick his ass. And maybe somebody can do a quick punch when he's not ready. Somebody can hit him from behind with a bottle. Like, even the greatest fighter, if he's smart, he knows, man. He looks around. He's like, fuck, yeah, I can get my ass kicked somehow. Like some bad luck could happen. And I can get my ass kicked by some new martial I don't know. I don't know the block on that, And smart guys, they know that. You got to be smart. You got to say, hey, I'm vulnerable here. I'm fucking vulnerable. And I'm talking about myself too. Every man needs to think about all these things. So then there's the financial one, right? Saving money, right? You guys together, and they talk about, so and so, she sews the clothes, and they bought a house, and now they got the retirement, and this and that. They never talk about divorce rape or any of that stuff. It's always like the few married couples that are still married, right? So they'll take like, if there's like 800 couples they know, let's say that 700 are divorced, and it was miserable, but the 100 are still married, right? And then they're going to use those ones as examples, right? And then it's about insurance and like all these like protection, and so it's commitment, it's being a man, it's like time is short, life is short. What do you got to lose? Children, babies together, love, and, like I talked about before, like die alone and all that stuff. That one of my favorite episodes is the die alone episode. I can put that in the comments. I love that episode. I always laugh when I think about it. But anyway, so there's factors that will affect you. So just know that as you float through life, that there are black holes out there. And those are black holes that are specifically targeted at you. And they will, if you're not careful, dismantle you. And I was talking to another guy recently, and he's like very not young, right? And he's being targeted. And would have been very tough when he was younger. But all of a sudden, at his age, a much younger girl makes a pitch, and he thought he was not vulnerable. He's very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. And I asked him why, and he said, because she makes me feel young. She makes me feel young. So a woman can make you feel something. So it's not even about the money. It's not about the this and that. If you feel, it's kind of like whatever, it's anything you like. Like if you like dogs, right? They make you feel good. You know, dogs are waiting for you when you get home. You know, they're very loving. You know, they got big eyes and shit. They're chasing sticks and stuff. You know, you're like, yeah, fucking dogs, they're awesome. You know, and you just feel good when you're around them, right? Well, guess what? This is the type of stuff, right? It's that kind of emotion. So it bypasses all the logic, but the pitch is like, it's like a never, I just mentioned a few of them here, but there's probably, I don't know, there's probably like a 10,000 or 50,000 more different factors. Like one of them I know for Chinese guys, one of the big ones, and the guy I knew got married because of this one, is what happened was all of his relatives, he had a big family, right? He was from the real countryside. His wedding was so cheap that they didn't even have a heater, and it was like minus 10 degrees or 20 degrees. And the doors were open. It was so cold. Like the wedding video, you can see everybody's breathing smoke, you know, from all the heat. It's just from the freezing cold. Like the door was open. It was like snowing outside. Like it was just, they were poor as fuck. But why did he get married? Why? He got married because the grandmother was going to die. And she wanted to see him married before she died. So she used her own death and his loved grandmother. He loved her. His grandmother was like looking at him, shaking. She's like on her cane, you know. I saw a picture of her. She's very old. She's like this lovely old lady, you know, who supported him as a kid and made food for him and loved him and this and that. But all of a sudden, she's on the other side, right? She's on the other side. And she's like, you know, you have to get married, you know, before, you know. And then everybody else. Okay, so she basically says, all she has to say, the old grandmother, is say, I really wanted to see you married, you know. I really wanted to see that. And then everybody else pitches in. So you got the grandmother, right? You got death. You got love. You got what you owe, you know. You owe her, you know, a lot. She gave you a lot, right? You feel very gratitude and stuff for her. Then everybody around her will tell. She won't do the dirty deed, your grandmother. But what will happen is everybody around her will say, you know, old granny there, you know, she's only got a few more, you know, seconds, microseconds to live. And she wants to see you married. She wants to see you married before she dies. And so it's not even the grandmother. The grandmother tells somebody, or everybody else makes it up or whatever. And next thing you know, you're getting married because your fucking grandmother's going to die. And this is what happened to this guy I knew, Chinese guy. And that's exactly what happened. And he did it too. He did it because of the grandmother. I asked him. You know, he's like, I just felt bad. You know, she's going to die. And he said, like, afterwards, he's like, I'm glad I did it. You know, she died happy, you know. And she did die, actually. She actually was very old, and she did die soon after that. It was almost like she stayed alive because she really wanted to see him married. You know what I mean? Like, in Chinese culture, man, they're fucking intense, right? You start talking about Indian, Chinese cultures and less modern cultures, you know, wow, the pressure is like really intense. So you might be a cool cat, right? You're like a cool cat. You're from, like I say, a small village in India, but you go to New York, you get your MBA, and you're like, fuck, you're seeing all these hot chicks, you know, you're having fun, you got money, you're working on Wall Street now, whatever. But the Stone Age fucking situation is going to come hit you in the head. The Stone Age fucking, the family comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden everybody's like, you know, like they paid for your school, right? They paid for you to go. And now, you know, are you going to kick them in the teeth, right? Or are you going to fucking, you know what I mean? Like they're like, there's this girl and you're from their hometown and you know that she loves you and, she wants to have babies and make fucking chapatis for you, and you're gonna, and then the guy's like, next thing you know, the guy's like this totally modern guy who felt totally invincible, almost like euphoric being in, modern society. And he is a very modern guy, but he's being sucked into a Stone Age situation because of, familial ties, man, and death and money too, right? Money's a big one, man. Why? You probably think, you get divorced, you lose all your money. Well, look at it another way. I was in the Philippines, and back in 1990 on a small island, and we stopped. I can't remember where we stopped. I think the guy I was with knew the guy or whatever. So we went to his house, and he had this beautiful plantation. Like, he had all these, like, was it coconut? No, it wasn't coconut. It was coffee plantation. And I came into his house. It was like a movie, this scene. It really was like a movie. And it was a beautiful, like a colonial type house. And he said, he says, I have a daughter, he said, and, she's a virgin. That's what he said. He goes, she's a virgin, and he said, if you married my daughter, I want to give you, he started saying, like, not even if you marry her, I want to give you both all the land. And he pointed to 2 trees. He's from this tree all the way down to that tree there. You guys that'll be your land. You can do whatever you want with it. And I was young, right? I was fucking young, right? It's like 1990, right? I was 25? I was 25 years old. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting in this comfortable chair, right? The windows open, it's like a full-on Filipino house. And beautiful floor, like hardwood, fucking, slash and burn the forest type wood. And so then he goes, I look over and I hear this like rustling in the corner. I look down at the stairs. There's like stairs downstairs. And I see these eyes popping up of this young girl, right? And she's looking up, and it's her. It's his daughter. And he looks at her and he goes, I swear to God, the guy said to me, he goes, well, you would never buy a car without checking under the hood. He said, this old Filipino guy. He fought with the Americans during World War II in Palawan. I was in Palawan. And he goes, you never buy a car without checking under the hood. He goes, well, I'm very happy for you to be here to spend the night with her. And then, if you're happy, then you can marry her. And, like that tree to that tree, and I was like, so it was like, like looking back, like that land was probably not worth that much, right? It was just like in the middle of Palawan in 1990, right? It was still pretty darn jungly out there at that time, Like, I don't even know if you could resell it. I don't even know would even have a deed or anything. It was like, we're really in the middle of nowhere, right? But somehow in that moment, it looked pretty valuable, because in California, to get like a huge plantation would be huge money, right? That'd be fucking massive for me. And I remember I did think, I wonder how much the land is really worth. But I thought, and I wonder if you'd really give it. I was thinking, it sounds like you would, And then, but the pitch was basically try her out, like check under the hood of this girl, right? And I was like, damn, that's a pretty attractive pitch there, Because here's the father encouraging me, to spend the night with his daughter, she's virgin and everything. It's like this pitch, as I really, you never know what the pitch you're going to get is. I've had a lot of pitches. Trust me, I've had a million. I don't want to go into too many specifics, but I have a lot of pitches by women and families. And I could really go on this one, but just be ready for the unknown is what I'm saying. Because in that moment with that guy in the Philippines, I felt a camaraderie with the guy. I really liked the guy. You know what I mean? He was treating me nice, like a man. And I was not a man yet. I was a man physically, but I didn't feel like a man yet. I was 25, and that's the other thing. He was bigging me up as a man and as like a powerful guy from America. I don't think of myself as American. I don't think of myself as having a nationality, really. I'm not really, I've fucking been overseas, so, like even then I just didn't even think about nationalities that much. I just thought, I'm Paul, right? I'm fucking this and that, I'm not like this, I don't know what label or whatever, I knew, obviously, my nationality and passport, but I just never was emotionally connected to it. And even today, this day, I don't feel like it's such a big deal. And but he looked at me that way, and that made me feel good. It made me feel like a man. I felt like a fucking man for one of the first times in my life I really felt like a man. I was like, this man is giving me land. I'm going to be a landowner. I mean, of course, I wasn't really thinking, but part of my mind was like, be a landowner. I can fuck his daughter. She's hot. If I don't like her, I can leave. Spare me. If I would have spent the night in his house, are you kidding me? Can you imagine the pressure? Oh man, we would have been on a trip all over the Philippines. They would have been treating me like a king, man. I would have been like, and she was pretty. I couldn't even fully see her face, but I think she was pretty darn attractive, this girl. She was not some jungle girl. She was, actually, I like jungle girls. I like country girls, actually. And that's the other thing. Country girls, I got a weakness for country girls, right? I fucking definitely have a weakness for country girls. And this chick was a major country girl, right? Major, right? Barefoot, fucking. And I like the way she looked, I was like, oh man, fuck, from what I could see, I didn't get that much of a look. But I saw her peeking over, I was like, oh, looks pretty good. looks pretty fucking good, right? Nobody in America was offering me fucking plantation, right? And here I am, like traveling the world. And part of me was like, like not with her so much, but with other girls when they made pitches on me. I remember thinking, man, I'll go back to America with this like hot girl, like back home, it would be harder to get this kind of situation, and I can have some time here and time there. And I really like fucking be a new person, that's the other thing. Here's another pitch for marriage. Like be a new person, you're going to man up, right? You're going to be you're going to go from a boy to a man. You're going to go from a single guy, which is basically worthless and nobody values, to a married man, to the upstanding citizen in this society, staking your claim on the planet, and it just goes on and on and on, and one of these things is going to hit you. That's what I'm saying. It's not today they sound stupid, but it's a combination. It's a combination of the smell of her pussy, your testosterone, and just they pitch after pitch after pitch. It's like you're on Sand Hill and you're like a fucking VC and like companies are coming in and pitching. Finally, you hear a pitch and you can't say no, And maybe it could be pressure. Like they take you out to dinner, they give you presents, I've had a lot of girls give me presents. That's the other thing. I've seen this as being powerful. I'll say this, the last one, is that girls know that marriage is a major financial burden on men. So I found a lot of girls, they try to make it the opposite during this intense wormhole, fucking black hole sales pitch. This very intense lock the doors with chains, pitch, and it's like, they try to make it like, it's like whenever she comes over with expensive food. Always, just expensive food that I like, and then maybe, like a fucking expensive, whatever it is that I need, like I need something for my car, or I want a certain speaker, whatever it is. It's always like, they're just like buying shit. They're just like, yeah, no problem. You like that, you want that wine, I'll get you that wine. You want that fucking this or that shirt, or, some shirt I would never buy because it's too expensive, but I like it, I think I like it or whatever, and then next thing you know, I show us up on my fucking, oh, here you go, like it's nothing. Here you go, try. Does that fit you? Oh yeah, it does fit. Oh, that's perfect. Well, if it doesn't fit, we'll go get another one, no problem, And you feel like, you start to, I know for myself how I feel about these pitches. Whenever they try to make it seem that it's going to be financially better than when I'm single, that is kind of powerful for me somehow. Because the family pitches in. The family's like, oh, we can give you this, you guys can have that. And you kind of feel like suddenly you are surrounded by people that are like, no longer are you alone in this world. You got this like backup now. You have people supporting you, people giving you, people trusting you. You're a man. They're giving you stuff. They're helping. You need help. Fuck, you need help when you're under this pitch. You need help with something, let's say moving. Her family's out there like breaking their backs. Grandma's carrying a fucking sofa up the stairs, right? Everybody's pitching in. Grandma's cooking. And you suddenly go from having a lonely house to having a house full of like laughter and fun. And, it's like mafia, Sopranos when they're having dinner. You were eating like fucking, chicken TV dinner last night, And then all of a sudden there's all this happiness, and they bring over like blankets and candles, and everybody's laughing, and you start to think, wow, like, yeah, it's not even, it becomes, you get the kind of picture I'm painting is your mind. And it's embarrassing too, because like, part of you as a man, this bullshit, there's part of you is like, wait a second, they can't continue doing this. This doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they do, this doesn't make any sense, And then part of you is like, and that is the part that will make you get married, because you will think that you are invulnerable. You will think that it won't work on you. You will think that you're safe. You will think that you will be logical, but something will get you. This is a eons old, millions of years old pitch. Now, whether it's humans or even way before humans, because humans only been around about 100,000 years, maybe 2 at the most. But even before that, the mating game went on, and it was basically the same. It was the same. All the factors are the same. It's just that we have modern things. But the pitch itself is Stone Age old, man. It's fucking Stone Age old. I'm sure girls were cleaning up caves, and they're bringing in like big rocks that are perfect for making spears. And her dad brings them in, and the guy's like, wow, I could have my own spear, I can go hunt some woolly mammoths, And you know what I mean? Like, he's got some grog. He made some fucking booze for you, You drink up some booze with him, laugh it up by the stream, You throw his spear, and he's like, I'll make you one, son, It's like, wow, I got my own spear, Damn, And it's the camaraderie of her father, and like the booze, and, this is the same factor, same stuff. Just in modern days, nobody pulls the sheet back on this shit. You're like left alone. What I'm telling you is important. I don't care what age you are. You got to listen to this over and over. This shit's going to happen to you. There's black holes, like they're like just lurking around. And suddenly they come by you, and then you're in this you're being sucked in, and you're like, and again, your confidence is going to be high. You'll be like, this won't happen to me. This girl, she's got stringy hair, she's too old, I'm not going to fall for this one. This is stupid, right? This is stupid. No, I'm just going to fuck her. I'll be gone, And, next thing you know, fuck, it's just like, it's so insidious. And again, I'm talking about a situation that you shouldn't be in. And that is what most marriages are. There's situations that you know better, it's wrong, that it's not going to work, that. But you feel like there's something that it just finally grabs you, It's like, finally, you're just like, maybe it's because you feel like you're getting older, it could be like all these very, 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 very deep desires as a man and as a human, they all come into play. And no other time in your life does anybody give a fuck about you. Nobody's pitching you. Nobody's love bombing you. Only right fucking now. And it feels so good. It does feel good. I will tell you that. And I think it's important to be honest with yourself about how good it feels. It does feel important to be valued. It feels good to be important. It feels good to be valued. It feels good to have support. Feel like it's not a cold world out there. There's other people who are going to support you. You got her family. You got your parents. Everybody together. It's going to make it good. It's going to make life safe. No longer is life a cold, you're not out on Christmas Eve, living on the streets, freezing cold wind blowing by, and the only people you meet are trying to sell you some scam fucking, cell phone service is just a total ripoff, or solar panels or some shit. Like everybody's just like what is it? Predatory fucking salesman, just getting you to sign on the dotted line, scamming you, ripping off your wallet. None of that. It's like you're in like some Charles Dickens movie in your mind. Instead, all of a sudden, it's like you're safe, man. And you're becoming a man. Like, fuck, who doesn't want to become a man, right? Fucking, that's an important thing. And I'll tell you that everything that they're pitching to you, okay, all those deep desires, all those, I say needs, those deep needs you have as a man, they all can be fulfilled by you. And they should be fulfilled. because they're touching on very, very deep, important things. You need, love. You need to feel like you're safe in this world, and you can achieve all this stuff as a single man. None of this stuff you can't achieve as a single man. You can protect yourself. You can have a good life. You can have a lot of love around your house. You can have a lot of friends. You can have a lot of support. You can be financially successful. You can have laughter. You can have optimism. You can have a good feeling inside of you that life is good and it's going to get better. You can have all these things, and you should have all these things, right? But this fake sales pitch that he's not going to give you these things. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's not that everything they're saying is not real. It's just that it's not going to, that it's not going to work. It's just like, it ain't going to happen. It's like, thanks for telling me I need all these things. I'm going to go out and get those things. I'm not going to sign a contract that's going to give me the exact opposite and make me more pessimistic about life. If you sign those contracts, the ones that they're making you feel real good, right? They're making that pitch and they're giving all the reasons why. Every fucking bank ad is like a happy family. Every insurance ad is like fucking old men living long and healthy and his dick is still hard and his wife still wants it and everything that you want, but it's like the insurance has nothing to do with that. It's just a sales pitch to scam you, to get you to buy something that you wouldn't logically buy. You wouldn't logically buy it, but emotionally you would buy it. That's what gets you. It's your emotions. It's a combination. Your logic that gives you an excuse so you can tell your friends why you did it, right? And then it's your emotions. They're working on your emotions. They know that no one's really, giving you a hand job on the emotions really much, And here it is, right? It's making you feel good. So when this happens to you, I want you to remember, and when it happens to a friend of yours, remember this. Remember that it's not simple. Don't make fun of the guy. Do not make fun of the guy, and don't make fun of yourself. This is a very serious challenge for you. This is a very serious challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for any man. These are powerful, powerful forces. And they're, like I said, millions of men in the past have succumbed to these. You have to give respect to that. You can't say that I'm telling you, if you're young, like say you're a millennial, you're young, you're saying, give respect. Give respect. Know that you're vulnerable. Be like the wise warrior. He knows he's vulnerable. He knows. He's a great fighter. He's put in the time. He's got the strength, but he knows he could go down in flames. The wrong situation. He knows. He's still vulnerable. He keeps that in mind. And that's what keeps him safe. Along with all the preparation and the skill that he puts in, the time he puts in and the skills he develops. But he also remembers, he never forgets, I'm vulnerable. Maybe even say it out loud right now. I am vulnerable to marriage. You got to say it. It's important. And this is how you become much less vulnerable. You become vulnerable by realizing you're vulnerable. Because you're like, hey, I'm vulnerable. Like, I'm awake. I'm not fucking falling asleep. It's kind of like, I'll say this last thing here. I was stalked by a wolf in northern India. We were in Rajasthan and checking out the sunset. I don't know if I told the story before. And it was a beautiful night. And all of a sudden I looked over and there was a weird movement. I looked over and I look, what the fuck is that, And I look and I thought it was a dog. As soon as I caught eyes with it, it stood up, stall, it started laughing. It's kind of like, how dogs can do that? Their tongue hangs out. They look all happy. And it was a wolf. It was a fucking wolf. And I was like, oh, he's fine. So I looked back. Next thing I know, I'm watching the sun. I look back. Again, he's slinked down. He's completely different. When I'm looking at him, he becomes happy and like safe and not dangerous. But the minute I look away, he slinks down, gets serious, and starts slinking ever closer to me. And I found out later on, let me finish the story. So as the wolf started to circle me and this girl, we were doing camel safari. We were doing all kinds of stuff in northern India near Pakistan. And when the wolf got closer, out of nowhere came this, I I don't know what you call it, like a shepherd boy or something, and he threw a rock and he hit the wolf. One fucking rock. This kid had such a great arm. Thud right on the side of the fucking wolf, and he slinked away. But what I found out later, that was like alarming for me. I mean, a middle-class kid fucking from the West to be stalked by a wolf, I'm telling you, this is the shit that really makes life worth living for me. It's like so exciting. Like, I want to have an exciting life. I always did. Like, I want to fucking live, man. Fuck this shit. And that's the other reason why I don't get married. You don't fucking, you're fucking signing away any kind of this stuff. But anyway, so I went online, I looked at how do wolves, because I was very surprised at how sophisticated the wolf was, because when I looked at him, he looked very not dangerous, like a woman. They don't look dangerous. They're smiling, the bra strap's off over the shoulder. Everything looks good, totally safe. I mean, you're stronger than her. She'll tell you that. She'll say, oh, I can barely lift this fucking kind of coffee. Can you help me? You're so big and strong. You're so big and strong, oh, let me feel that arm. Oh, you make me feel so secure, and she seems very safe, right? Doesn't seem like she's going to hurt you. Well, how could she hurt you? And she's barely, hanging on, right? She's scared of fucking, mosquitoes and stuff, and cockroaches, right? You're the big man, cleaning up the house, getting rid of the cockroaches. She makes you feel strong, right? All these factors can get you into a bad situation, right? And that wolf, I looked online and I discovered, because I had respect for wolves suddenly. In fact, I respect all wildlife now, because I realized that they have a very sophisticated hunting technique that is much more sophisticated than you would think. You think that a wolf's just going to run up and bite you and like grab your neck or something. No. What he does is all that shit I was talking about before. And then when he finally comes, he comes from behind. And he nips you in the heels. That's what he does. He nips and he goes back. Like a little nip. Doesn't even hardly hurt. And just nips you in the heels. And you feel like, oh, you scratch the back of my heel, Okay. You keep walking. Then he waits. And then he slinks up. And then when you don't look around, he nips you again. Nips you again. Eventually, he keeps nipping you in the Achilles heel. Right in the behind the foot, right? And then what happens is your foot gets sore. So then you eventually it gets so sore that you sit down and you're like, God damn, this hurts, And you think, if he comes up, I'm going to kick his ass. I'm going to like crush his skull. You're thinking all this stuff. But then what happens is as soon as you sit down, you're lower, right? And that's when the bad stuff starts happening. And eventually he ends up at your throat, right? And that's how he's evolved to trick you, make you feel secure, make you feel safe. And then to finally, and do things that weaken you. They weaken you, And that's the thing with girls. What they'll do is when they love bomb you with this marriage proposal shit, they will, don't ever mistake that guys propose to women. Women propose to men pretty much only. And then men actually say the proposal, but the women are proposing it. And don't get that part figured, mistaken. But what they do is if it doesn't work, okay, let's say it doesn't work, they're going to try other stuff, right? They're going to all of a sudden, all the happiness you have around you, all the love and support, just whoosh, gone. And they don't hate you. They're just like, oh, and they move away. And then you feel like, oh, I want that back, I want that back. And then you're like, baby, why can't you just be like before? We had such a good time, and she's like, well, I just feel like at my age, I just, and then you're like, oh, you start feeling sorry for, all these things, right? And then again, in the end, you've already been nipped at the fucking heels like crazy. You're sitting down now. And then the wolf comes in. That's how it works. That's marriage. That's why guys get married, right fucking there. To the wrong girl. That's it. It's all those factors. So don't fucking think you're immune. And when you meet somebody, one of your friends is going through this, don't overestimate, don't be an idiot where you're kind of like, just talk to the guy one time. Just realize if you really care about the guy, you got to take time and realize that he is almost being he's almost being hypnotized by this situation. And he's being sucked in by powerful forces that are, centuries old, that are very complicated. He can't even understand or explain. And they might be a little different than what you went through. And they might be based on his own needs, right? Like he might have some other reason why he's even more vulnerable to this girl than you even know, right? There might be something about him that's particular that makes him, whether it could be anything, could be any number of things, right? And so you don't really know what he's going through, really. So give respect. Keep in mind that it's serious. It's not going to end in one day. It's not like a logical thing. He decides and then it's done. He's not going to get married. Just know that it could keep going on. Just know if you care about him, hang in there for the long term. Be there as a friend. Don't go too far. And of course, now, let him do what he wants. You have to, eventually the guy is going to do what he wants. He is going to make the decision. But if you understand the complexity of this and you have respect for the incredible skill that women have, okay, in making guys, what do you call it? I don't even want to use manipulation because I think this is a very primal thing. It's a primal thing that women are doing. And they have every right to do it. And you have every right to say no. But you have to know that that you're vulnerable and that there's many, many aspects. And then once you break the spell, once you, here's the good news, is once you finally fend off all the attacks and you're alone again, you come back to your senses as a man. Everything comes back and you're like, whoo, shit, man, holy shit. I was like, damn, I was too close on that one. Woo, I thought I was pretty good, but man, I was getting pretty fucking, I was getting pretty close, man. I was getting pretty close. And then you say, okay, but I did it, right? I fucking did it again. I protected myself, and here I am. I get to enjoy the benefits. And then often what happens is she marries, somebody right away, and you can watch how that goes, right? And usually that is pretty enjoyable to watch after you avoided it. So there's a lot of benefits in being wise, knowledgeable, being in control of yourself, having respect for powerful forces that are very difficult to, respect for the world, respect for the girls. I say respect the girls. They might not look strong, but they're fucking dangerous to you as a man. Not every one of them, but there's going to be one. And that's what I'm talking about, that one, right? And she's going to be dangerous, right? So there you go. There's some how, whatever people, I just want to say, I just hate watching guys get married when they know they shouldn't. I've gotten so tired of it. That's why I did this long, complicated one, because I want you to look at it from many angles. And if nothing else, when you watch a guy get married now, you'll have respect. You'll say, damn, that guy, woo, I don't know if I could have fucking withstood that one, Especially if he's not used to getting pussy. That fucking pussy she had, woo, pretty fucking powerful for him, pretty fucking powerful. And then, you can, he'll ask your help later, you'll be able to help him. You'll be able to help him. And you'll be in control of yourself. And this is what it's about. You want freedom? You want fucking freedom? Study this one again. Because you better study, because that black hole's floating around. And out of nowhere, you're going to start feeling your skin sucked off. If you notice your sunglasses and your wallet flying off into some girl's wallet, you go, oh, fuck, Ronin was right, I never thought this would happen again. Here I am, 62, right? And this 40-year-old hottie, I'm 85, and this 40-year-old hottie, 30-year-old hottie, right? They start, when you get older, the older ones, they look better, right? Because you adjust to what you can get, right? So, when you're 90, I'm sure a 70-year-old looks pretty hot, probably, or a 60-year-old, So, as unbelievable as that might sound, it's like as you change, as you physically change, right? So, anyway, guys, hope that's been helpful. Hope it's been interesting, and I'm really looking forward to some of the guys are here, and we're fucking having a great time, man. We're having a great time, and we're gonna meet up tonight. We're gonna go have some fun. So, anyway, I hope you guys are good, and love to hear the challenges you had, the times that you were kind of caught in the fucking laser tractor thing where you're just completely just getting sucked into the fucking back of the meat truck, when you were getting sucked in, or when you did when you were younger, talk about this stuff. Talk about it. Be honest with it, right? That's where the power comes from. It doesn't come from thinking you're powerful. It comes from this. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.